Some of these Arsenal statistics are absolutely mental. In 9 home games in the Champions League in the group stage, they've scored 26 goals and not conceded a single goal. Like, you think that's mental? Then you look at the Premier League. Arsenal have conceded 3 goals in 9 Premier League games, which is nuts so far. They are on track to concede 12 goals all season. We are a quarter of the way through the Premier League season. Arsenal on track to concede 12 goals all season, which is absolutely nuts. But 0 shots on target conceded in the last 3 games in a row. It's not like David Raya is making super saves. The dude's had nothing to do the last 3 games. 5 clean sheets in a row, which is absolutely nuts. You then look at the Premier League table. Arsenal have already got 4 points on second place Bournemouth. Like Manchester City, they've got 6 points on. Liverpool, they've got 7 points on. Arsenal because Arsenal don't lose, it looks like they're going to walk away with the title this year because everyone is losing but Arsenal. And even though every now and then Arsenal get the odd draw and every now and then Arsenal drop points, a lot of the games that Arsenal would be drawing this season, they're finding winners. Eze versus Palace, Trossard versus Fulham, Gabriel last minute comeback versus Newcastle. All of these is screaming title because they can beat Atletico 4-0, they can beat Real Madrid 3-0. We know what Arsenal can do in the big games, but it's those games against the low block that's always cost Arsenal. And they are winning those games. I mean, look at this. I want to get into what Jamie Carragher's had to say on Arsenal set pieces and defence in a second, because we've got to have a serious conversation if Jamie Carragher's right about Arsenal. But to give you context to Jamie Carragher's comments, clean sheet versus Man United, clean sheet versus Leeds, clean sheet, nearly a clean sheet versus Liverpool. They lost by a Soboslai worldy free kick. Clean sheet versus Forest. Bilbao obviously was 2-0 win, 1-1 versus City, clean sheet versus Port Vale, comeback versus Newcastle, win versus Olympiacos, win versus West Ham, win versus Fulham, battering Atletico Madrid and beating Palace. They've conceded 3 goals all season. 3 goals conceded all season, guys, is absolutely nuts when you take into account that they've played 13 games. It is scary. I'm saying this as a Man United fan. This is scary. So, Jamie Carragher's had a few things to say on the likes of Gabriel and Arsenal, and in today's video, we're going to talk about Jamie Carragher's comments. I'm going to give you my thoughts on Arsenal, and is he right? Because some people aren't happy with his comments, but I don't think they're like mean comments about Arsenal. It feels like set pieces are going to continue to be a big theme. There is no team more primed to win the Premier League if it's this way the league is going. This Arsenal team have been built to cope with situations like this in terms of height of the team and their power. For a long time I've said Mikel Arteta has been trying to win the league like a Jose Mourinho team. There's nothing wrong with that. The most important thing is winning. Now I want to talk about Gabriel, and I want to talk about Arsenal's defence and Mascara and how he's doing at Saliba and Timber in a second. But I want to talk about these Jamie Carragher comments because I think Jamie Carragher's right in a way. Some Arsenal fans see this as a dig. I don't see this as a dig at Arsenal. He's saying Arteta's finding his way to win the league and it's set pieces and it's Jose Mourinho style. And if it wins the league, it wins the league. He's not going to criticise that. Some people are saying that's a negative. Now, I see it not necessarily as Jose Mourinho style because I do think Arsenal are a bit more possession dominant. But yeah, Arsenal winning the league through set pieces. They're 17th for open play goals this season. They're winning the league through set pieces. And if the set pieces are sustainable, which it is, we can't sit there and complain about it because they're top of the league. If you win the league, you win the league. I made a video saying, I don't get why Arsenal fans last season were saying that Liverpool are the worst league title winners ever. They won the league. Yeah, City and Arsenal didn't give them a load of competition, but they won the league. You can't, this year the narrative will be if Arsenal win the league through set pieces, they're the worst league winners ever. And it's actually like they're not. I think, if Liverpool win the league, rivals find a way to put it down. If Arsenal in the league, rivals are going to find a way to put it down and say they're set piece winners. But set pieces, and I'm saying this now, are such a big and important part of the game. This is where Liverpool are struggling, and this is why Tottenham are doing quite well this season, because it's fine margins. You look at the teams that are conceding the most set piece goals. West Ham, crap start to the season. Wolves, crap start to the season. The teams that are scoring the most are Arsenal and Tottenham from set pieces, and both of them at first and third, and Tottenham was 17th last season. And look, obviously a big part of that's Thomas Frank, but if you watch Tottenham at set pieces last season, they were atrocious. Like, I think set pieces are really important in the Premier League this season. I'd love to put Arsenal down, I'd love to go Stoke, boring, this and that, But Jamie Carragher's right in the sense of set pieces is a big theme. And, right now, the way the league is going, Arsenal were built to win this league. Okay, some people saying it's boring. Some people saying the Premier League isn't as exciting this year. And to an extent, we're not seeing crazy amounts of goals, but we're seeing just a well-structured drill team in Arsenal. We're seeing how important set pieces are. You look at the long throw-ins, how Slot is struggling. You look at Liverpool and the amount of set piece goals they've conceded or goals they've conceded this season. Liverpool have really fallen off because they're not winning the second balls. They're not winning the headers. One thing I've noticed this season in the Premier League is the impact of physicality. And what I mean about that, and I've spoke about this for years, the reason, and I said this about Man United last season when we had Ten Hag, before Amron came in, Man United's biggest issue, and I'm a Man United fan, was like we couldn't compete with other teams physically. Like Eriksen was kind of weak, Garnacho was kind of weak, there was a weakness in our team. What Ruben Amorim's done and focused on a lot, and obviously he's had one game a week and stuff, but he's really worked on the physicality of his Manchester United side, like in the physical fitness side, but also like he's, there's games that Maguire and De Ligt are playing because they're very physical. Sesko is very big, he's very tall, he's winning those headers. And I feel like I look at a Liverpool team right now and a Chelsea team right now that's struggling, but those teams physically at the back lack. They do lack physically at the back. And one of the reasons I felt that Newcastle was so good last season is because they could physically go toe-to-toe with Arsenal and toe-to-toe with the big teams. And I think physicality and being able to win second balls and being able to out-battle your opponents and win those headers and those fine margins at set pieces are so important. I don't think Tottenham are incredible versus Everton, but Danzo and Van der Ven were dominating their box and Tottenham scored 3 headers. I think heading and set pieces and the ability to dominate your box this season is key in the Premier League. Football evolves. One year it's pace, one year it's being able to dominate your box. And because there's not a team better in both boxes than Arsenal, in the attacking box at scoring, in the defending box at defending and keeping clean sheets, there's no team more physical than Arsenal. Subamende, Declan Rice pivot as well with Gabriel, Saliba behind, Timber and Calafiori, some of the most built-up fullbacks in the league. It's hard for teams to outdo Arsenal unless you're this incredible PSG technical side that can maybe outplay Arsenal in football terms. You can't beat Arsenal because they're so physically ridiculous. Look, I want to talk about Yuri and Timber in a second because Yuri and Timber... But Gabriel Magalhaes is on for Player of the Season. Jamie Carragher's spot on about this. I think if Arsenal go and win the league, Gabriel is number 1 contender for PFA Player of the Year. He has to be. He's probably been Arsenal's most clutch player. He's your most threatening player in attack. He's your best player in defence. He's phenomenal. And look, as a Man United fan, at least he's getting me FPL points. But Gabriel's a monster. And Jamie Carragher said this. He thinks that Gabriel Magalhaes might well be the most influential player in the Premier League right now. Yes, I think you can make an argument that Gabriel could be seen as the most influential player in the Premier League right now. When you think of clean sheets and the defensive record Arsenal have, and also the threat of set pieces, he's as influential as anyone, maybe even Haaland. And I agree. He's a commander at the back, he's a leader at the back, he's an absolute monster at the back. But he at set pieces is like when you put a good cross into Haaland in attack. Like, we had Bayendier in goal when we played you. And Bayendier did kind of gift you that goal. But every time we conceded a set piece to Arsenal, I was like, one, because Arsenal was scary from set pieces, but 2, because we're crap with Bayendier in goal. At least Lamon's is in now. But Gabriel, I agree with Jamie Carragher. He might be the most influential player in the Premier League right now. Like, the goals he's scoring, that comeback versus Newcastle, for me, is Arsenal's title-winning moment. Like, if it goes down to the final day and Arsenal win the Premier League by 1 point, it reminds me of when Kompany scored that goal versus Leicester and Man City won the league. Do you know what I mean? This would be I would go back all the way to the start of season to Gabriel's winner versus Newcastle, where arguably it probably was his worst game if you're thinking all-round performance in an Arsenal shirt, and be like, that's the moment Arsenal won the league. Now, Arsenal could walk away and win the league by March. Arsenal could do an Arsenal, City could get back into it. We don't know. But right now, Gabriel was on track for Player of the Season. You can give Yuri and Timber a massive shout out. Yuri and Timber has been phenomenal this season. And I think because he doesn't get the goals Gabriel gets and because he's a fullback, it probably goes under the radar a lot more. I think Yuri and Timber is the best and most underrated fullback in the league. But right now, Gabriel is an absolute monster. Gabriel was the best player in the league right now. You can argue with Haaland. You can argue Semenyo and Bumo if you, but it's Gabriel and Haaland. Like, let's be honest. Mendy's been great. Declan Rice has been great. Of course, Ewan Tim has been great. But Gabriel and Haaland right now are the two players that are going for Premier League Player of the Season. And Gabriel's influence as a centre back, he's more than a defender. 22 goals since 2020. I'm pretty sure that's more than some pretty crap attackers out there. Gabriel is the best defender in the world right now. You can argue the best player in the league. And look, we go back to everything on Arsenal here. This is not normal. This is not normal. This is not normal. It's not normal. And Carragher's, I think, right to an extent. I wouldn't say I would compare Arsenal to Jose Mourinho. I think Arsenal dominate possession more and have more attacking intent than Jose Mourinho. But you're looking at the fact that Chelsea barely conceded any goals under Mourinho, the lack of goals being conceded by Arsenal and how good the defence is. I do agree with what Carragher's saying. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.